Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is Wendy Rodgers, owner of Planet Realty Management out of Jacksonville, Florida. Now, Wendy specializes in working with investors and understands their unique needs very well because she's actually one herself. She started building her own portfolio in 2001 when she bought foreclosed homes that were not in great shape. She rehabbed them and then she either rented or sold them. And she's also been featured on the cover of Top Agent magazine. Wendy, welcome to the show.
Hi, everybody.
Now, Wendy, if we could kind of start out with, what led you into real estate? Was it something that you always wanted to do, or did you kind of just stumble into it? How did that come about?
I would say that I stumbled into it. It started when I purchased my first home. And I purchased a home needing some work, and I realized that with a little bit of elbow grease and hard work, you can increase the value and therefore build your equity in a home, which therefore builds your fortune and what you can collect as far as going towards retirement and, purchasing another home and building up a portfolio.
So you kind of just it sounds like when we made your introduction there that you kind of invested in things and you said, hey, wait a minute, it's fun, it's profitable, and I could probably help other people do this.
Absolutely. It is something that I fell into, and I enjoyed it from the time that I started it. I've been going strong now since 2001 and love every day of it.
So, Wendy, what do you think, what personal traits or attributes or qualities do you think have most contributed to your success, and how do you think you developed those?
My best quality that I think that I have is my work ethic. I'm a high-energy person, and I get up every morning with something to do, and having the drive and the high energy makes it so that you can multitask and get things done and keep pushing through even when you come across things that are setbacks. How did I develop these? I, at a very young age, had to support myself, and if I did not work, I did not eat. So I think that this pushed me towards being a successful, hardworking person.
Yeah, I can imagine that. That seems pretty, some people develop things, naturally and as a skill set, but you were kind of forced to hey, I gotta do something here because you gotta take care of myself. Kind of pushed you into that.
Absolutely. So,
do you think you could maybe give a specific example or examples of when these traits have played a role in your path towards success?
I definitely think so. During the crash of the market in 2006, when everything was going strong, a lot of people gave up, and I didn't give up. I kept pushing forward. Absolutely what it made me do was I was a real estate agent at that point in time, and I went on and got my broker's license so that I could multitask and do several different types of jobs in the real estate market. Like I went on into property management, into sales, and I didn't have to share any of my commissions or bonuses with other real estate brokers. And that's what drove me to open Planet Realty.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty powerful that, like you said, regular agents, obviously, as most people know, usually have to split some type of fee with their brokerage, so you took it upon yourself to say, I'm going to become the broker, I'm going to open my own, and I'm going to keep 100% of it since you're, it seems to me, in my eyes, it's like the realtor does 100% of the work anyway, unless there's a little bit of support. So, you're deserving of keeping the entire commission, I would think,
Absolutely, and I always had a tough time splitting it because the real estate agent does do all the work, and the broker collects a portion of it, and unfortunately, the bigger the company is, the more the money they take. So I decided that I was going to go out and do it on my own, which I can't say was easy, but if you push forward, you can make anything happen. That's how I see things in my eyes.
Yeah, and I think you touched on a point there of not being easy. So that kind of leads me to the next area here of, I guess, what were some major adversities and trials that you've had to overcome to achieve what you have so far?
A lot of things that you have to overcome is learning to work with all different skill types and all different uh, styles of houses and people and meshing and being able to go with the flow, because sometimes a business can be unforgiving and you have to stand up and be the entrepreneur and be the leader and learn how to work with things.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think, obviously you talked a bit earlier about your attributes and your traits and that work ethic that kind of always drives you, and that's probably, kind of leads me to my next thought here of, what kept you going despite these obstacles? Why didn't you give up? I mean, and obviously you talked about your work ethic, but what other things might have kind of contributed to why you don't give up? What makes you still push forward to this day to achieve things?
I think a lot of it comes to success, and I came from pretty slim beginnings, and I've made a pretty good name for myself here in Jacksonville, and I live in the Neptune Beach area near the beaches, and once you start becoming successful and you go to one thing and you accomplish something and you go to another accomplishment, you start realizing the harder you push forward, the more success that you have and the better person that you become.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you see your vision for the way your business is going to, grow for the next 5 years?
The next 5 years, I'm really focusing on growth. I've always been very hands-on. I am out in the field every day. I am a real estate broker, but I don't take advantage of my real estate agents. I take them in and mentor them. So I want to grow my business in several different ways. I would like to increase as far as having more real estate agents, but with the real estate agents that I have, I mentor and I make sure that they feel that they're on the same level as I am. I also want to build in sales, and sales are going pretty strong, and the market has recovered tremendously. And with that, if you build those things with property management and sales and realtors, when the market is cyclical and does decline a bit, hopefully there will be stability.
So, yeah, I think that's really great, and it speaks a lot to your business sense. And I was actually thinking, you're talking about different areas, and I think it's interesting that you have, Planet Realty and Management, because you kind of touched upon that you do have your brokerage license, you do have agents, so obviously you can handle the typical real estate transactions, buying and selling and everything like that. But then on the other side of the house, it seems like you have the management side, where I imagine that's kind of a residual type business where you have, fees that are associated with taking care of people's property. So even as things go up and down and shift, it's like you have two different, diversification areas, so that you have, the potential revenue of the management side as well as the other side of the actual real estate side.
Absolutely, and that's what I have created, so that when markets, the market changes, it would be called fixed if it was fixed, but as the market changes, I have several different departments going within my business, so that does create stability.
Oh, that's great. So what do you feel is the best way you market yourself and continue to build your business for, continual growth?
The best way that I feel that I can market myself and have growth is definitely being a part of the community, volunteering myself. I try to give back to the community. Growth as far as keeping everyone happy, building with real estate agents, building with sales, and keeping good customer relationships, because people talk and people refer. And that's one of the best things that you can do for your business, is have great relationships.
Yeah, it definitely seems like, people are really big on reviews. It even seems like if my wife and I will be in a different town or a different city, and a lot of times you'll search on your phone for a new restaurant and you look at the reviews of people you don't even know, but if you see 4- and 5-star reviews from a bunch of people, you're like, oh, this must be a good place to go. So it's that kind of word of mouth and that referral type system, I think is just as great inside the the real estate market.
It really has. A Google review nowadays is worth more sometimes than advertising, because I won't choose a contractor unless I go look at their Google reviews.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think, it seems like within real estate in general, especially on the typical side, the agents, the listing and the selling, there seems to be a big misconception. What do you think the biggest misconception or myth that people have about working with an actual real estate agent or a brokerage like yourself?
I believe that the misconception is that a lot of people think that real estate agents don't work. That real estate agents don't care, and that real estate agents make a lot of money without having to do much work. And I think that's a big misconception, because this is a very, very hard and competitive business. And to keep your business going, you have to constantly be improving, moving, and having good relationships with people. So I think people really need to know that we really, really do work hard.
Yeah, I think that it seems like the barrier to entry is not as, obviously there's some training, you got to take some initial training and then pass an actual test to get your license. But it seems like I think people just think that, oh, I'm a realtor now, I'm going to be rich. It's going to be magic. It's just all going to happen. So I think what you touched upon there is great, that there is work involved, as is there is any business, but most people seem to look at people with success and just assume that, oh, yeah, she's a realtor. Of course she makes money. Of course she, is successful. And it's interesting because from my point of view, it's like maybe, there might be 10, 20% of the realtors that are actually successful. It seems like the other, 80% are just, they got their license and thought it was going to be a walk in the park.
Absolutely. And really the schooling and getting your license is only about learning the laws and what you can do legally. It has nothing to do, the schooling doesn't teach you how to do sales. That's something you have to have a gift for, or you learn on your own.
Yeah, which I would imagine that's exactly how you're going to grow your business. Understanding the law is important, but if you want to grow, you got to be able to communicate and sell things to people.
Absolutely. You have to be very outgoing.
So let's kind of take a hypothetical question here. Let's say you get a call from a family member in another state, and they say, Wendy, we want to sell our house. We're up north. We're sick of the snow. We want to come down and live in Florida. What advice would you give them to help them best select an agent that could serve their needs?
I would actually do some research myself and see who is the best company in that state. I would check their Google reviews, and then I'd make some phone calls and talk to brokers and agents and see how these agents are rated. Look at their websites. Go look at Google reviews. There's all different ways to refer it, but I definitely would do some research before I, just gave out a name. Definitely.
So you obviously do some checking into them, check their reviews, maybe, look at their sales process. How are you going to sell my house? How are you going to market my house? How quickly, maybe the average days on market, things like that could contribute to, selling this as quickly as possible and getting, top dollar.
The things that come up all the time is what is my house worth? You have to find an agent that's going to be honest and really tell you what your house is worth. And another one that you get pushback on this is what repairs need to be done to the house to get the price that you want. How the house needs to be staged, or what kind of upgrades you need in the house to sell the house for the price that you want.
Yeah, I think those are important points that people need to definitely consider. So, Wendy, if somebody wants to get more information about you, or if they're especially in the Jacksonville area, where's the best way they can reach you and get more information about you?
All they have to do is Google my name. Again, we're back to Google. You Google me, I come up to the top of the page. You can go to Planet Realty. I'm on Realtor.com. I'm featured. And you can call me, which my number is 904-425-SALE or 7253. But I'm pretty easy to find, I feel.
Excellent. Well, Wendy, we just want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule today to come and talk to our listeners today about the different areas in real estate and kind of how you've built your business and how you kind of stand out from everybody else. And if anybody's interested, obviously, in learning more about Wendy, you heard where you can reach her. Actually, below this interview, you're going to see some links. We'll put a link to her site. We'll put all of her contact information and make it as easy as possible for you to reach out and connect with Wendy. So until our next show, everybody, have a great day, and we'll talk to you guys all soon.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.